CHALL, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel, and welcome to another transfer report. Now today we're going to be talking about the CEO coming out about the funds and the future stability of Doncaster Rovers Football Club, which is not a transfer news, but you know, it's worth talking about. Along with all that, we're going to be talking about Rayhaan Tulloch from West Brom and Armando Broja from the Chelsea Youth Academy. So before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss any more football content. By the way guys, thank you so much for the support on the previous videos. It means the absolute world that we get to do this. We want to be the AFTV of League One. That's the dream. And let's get into this transfer report and let's talk about what's been going on. So kicking off, according to the Doncaster Free Press, the Chief Executive Gavin Baldwin insists there are no concerns over the future funding of Doncaster Rovers following last month's departure of the Watson family. Andrew Watson and Sarah Flower, the children of the late Dick Watson, gave up their combined 25% stake in July and resigned from official positions at the club. Since the Watsons bought into the club in 2006, they provided an equal level of funding to Terry Bramall and previous chairman John Rayhaan. But CEO Baldwin said there'll be no shortfall in backing from the ownership, thanks to increased contributions from Bramall and the current chairman, David Blunt. Now, he told the Free Press, Terry and David straight away both assured me there will be no concerns whatsoever. David has funded the club in the past and definitely on a more regular basis recently. Both of them are trying to drive a sustainable football model. Until we achieve that sustainability indefinitely during the COVID-19 and the outcomes of it, they are absolutely clear they are here to ensure the future stability of the club. It has not had a financial impact on the club, and the creation of the Club Doncaster model was designed to move Rovers towards self-sustainability. The owners continue to make contributions considerably to the club each year to ensure Rovers remain competitive, but Baldwin says the club is progressing well in striving for a sustainable operation. The Chief Executive also added that the previous roles of the Watson family within the club will be absorbed by Bromwich and Blunt. He said the day-to-day running of the club, David and Terry have more than picked up. As regards to any difference it will make to the club, they have picked up any of the roles that Andy would have performed. He's a massive fan, Andy, of Rovers, and will continue to be. He's still rung me virtually every week to talk about the club, and as regards to the running of the club, David and Terry have more than filled the gap, and David has always been my main point of contact anyway as the chairman. Anyone enjoyed Andy and Sarah's company, and Andy attended the various board meetings and was on the end of the phone on a daily basis for advice, guidance, etc. Both will continue coming to the club in the director's suite and ambassadorial roles. They'll remain as friends of the club and will still get on really well with them. So that is the first story from today, chatting about Gavin Baldwin's statements on the funding and stability of the club. And you know what? This is one thing I love about the owners, and I've said this in the past recently. They come out and say exactly what's happening. They don't hide anything away. They don't hide away any truths. They come out and say exactly what's going on. They said, you know what? The future of the club is stable. We're trying to make it as sustainable and competitive as possible. Blunt's investing in it. Bramall's bringing in some money as well. They're keeping investing in the club. The club's in a sustainable future and we're trying to make it competitive as possible. The fact that he's come out and said that, again, just makes me think these owners are amazing. They think about the club's future. They recognise the fans, first of all. They recognise the fans primarily because, they say to them, this is what's happening. The future of the club is sustainable. We're keeping to pumping money in. We want to make it competitive. We keep making it competitive as possible. And this is what's happening. And, the Watson family are still in contact. They're going to be ambassadors for Rovers. They stay in contact with the ownership, with the people in charge, with the shareholders in the club. And again, I love these owners for that because they keep us updated about what exactly is happening. And, we're not going to shy away from it. We're not the biggest spenders in football. But you know what? That's always a good thing because I would rather be careful in who we spend money on and who we buy than waste millions and millions of pounds on players that may end up flopping or waste money on things that may not turn out to be as much of a success as first planned. So, I like that we're careful spenders and I like we're careful in what we do. It would be interesting to see what this ownership would do if we were a Premier League club in a few years' time. If we got promoted to the Championship and then the Premier League in a few years' time, this is the type of ownership that'd be like, right, we're not going to waste money like biggest clubs in the Premier League. We will actually stay with our careful spending. We'll continue to put money into the club and keep it sustainable. But we're not going to be one of those clubs that's going to put players on very high wages. Because if we get relegated, those wages are not going to bounce back and they're going to financially damage the club. And then we'll go through that cycle of new ownership again because we need someone to put money back into the club. So if we were a Premier League club, I think we would be careful in who we spend money on, who the wages are delivered out to. But I think the heart and passion of the club would drive us forward. And I think that under Darren Moore, we trust in the manager. We trust in the manager because we trust in the process of transfers. We trust in his tactics. We trust in his running of the club and how he runs the football on the pitch. We trust the owners about what they do off the pitch. And Doncaster, to be fair, could not be in such a good position because we've got a stadium that's Premier League quality, 15,000. Bournemouth's capacity is 11,000 odd. So we've got a bigger stadium than Bournemouth. The facilities will be improved over time. They'll continue to be improved, but I think already we've got decent facilities at the club. And we are the perfect example of how a club should be run. We are one of the perfect examples of how a club should be run. And I think many big clubs like Newcastle, Arsenal at times, Man United at times, should be ashamed sometimes of how other clubs are being run. And clubs that are in our division now, that have like Sunderland and Hull, they should be ashamed because we run better than them. And Charlton, I'm going to produce a video on it today, but bloody hell, Charlton Athletic are in the absolute gutter, aren't they? Jesus Louise. And, I'll do a video on that. Believe me, I've got some thoughts about the EFL for that, and trust me, it isn't good. And so stay tuned for that video later this afternoon. But, we feel grateful to have the owners that we've got and the manager we've got. So I trust in the manager, I trust in the owners. Speaking of the manager and the transfer process, we've got two rumoured Premier League young strikers. We're going to talk about one right now and one at the end of the video. So let's start off by talking about Tulloch from Moore's former managerial standpoint, West Bromwich Albion, who were recently promoted to the Premier League. So well done. So West Brom returned to the Premier League for next season, and one of their youngsters, Rayhaan Tulloch, is close to completing a loan deal to Doncaster Rovers, according to the Football League Roundup on Twitter. So this is an interesting story because Rayhaan Tulloch is a Premier League youngster. He's someone that we would look at. We love our Premier League youngsters, our Premier League teens, like the likes of Garner, Kovar, Cameron John, Niall Ennis. We love Premier League youngsters and Premier League teenagers. And, Rayhaan Tulloch is a pacey striker. He's got loads of potential. And, again, Man United came out and said they appreciate the way we treat our loanees. We give them equal amounts of game time. We don't BS anyone about it. We give them fair amounts of game time. We treat them right. We treat them as one of our own members of a club. And I think West Brom should learn from Man United's comments and allow this deal to happen. But according to Football League Roundup, it is apparently expected to be completed. So, what do I think about this deal if it is 100% going to be completed? I think this guy is a pacey striker, a clinical finisher, and I think that he is definitely one to watch for next season, I think, if he comes in. Because, I think he's got that Premier League clinicalness about it, and I think that Rayhaan Tulloch would be a great signing for this club, and I think that a season-long loan would be brilliant. I think that if he doesn't get into the West Brom squad and he does really well on loan, I think he's more than welcome to come on a permanent transfer, undisclosed fee, who knows. Magic Gomez was undisclosed fee, and I think that was something like around, £500,000, I think, for Magic Gomez, between 300 and 500k. So, I think that whatever the transfer fee, I think if Tulloch does extremely well and helps us get promoted to the Championship next season, give him a permanent contract if they allow him to leave on a permanent deal. So, I think Tulloch's one of those players that I would want to see in a Rovers shirt next season. So if this is expected to be completed, fair enough. We've got a good player on our hands. But there's interest in another Premier League youngster, and this is someone who, as well as Tulloch, I would love to see in a Rovers shirt next season on loan, and that is Chelsea's academy forward, Armando Broja. So according to Doncaster Rovers stats on Twitter, Doncaster Rovers are interested exclusively in a one-year loan deal for 18-year-old Chelsea forward Armando Broja. So that, my friends, is the interest on Armando Broja. Now, this guy is an 18-year-old Chelsea striker. Now, when the story broke, I watched some highlights videos of him, and I've got to say, guys, if you haven't seen him, check highlight videos out on this guy. He is going to be brilliant. I think League One at the minute is his level, and I think that signing a Rovers year loan deal would be fantastic. I mean, I've seen highlights of him. Other Rovers fans have seen highlights of this guy. He is a clinical finisher. He's such a pacey player. He's got excellent dribbling qualities. He's like a better dribbler version of Diego Costa, but he hasn't got the attitude like Diego Costa. He's got a way better attitude at the minute than Diego Costa. And, you know, I think Broja would be a great transfer for the club, and I think he'd be a great addition for the club. So, if this gets pulled off as well as Tulloch, I'll be very, very impressed. I was already impressed with Moore anyway. I trust in what he has planned for the club. We got Lakil on a permanent deal. He showed great signs on loan on the only couple of occasions where we've seen him. And, you know, we knew this guy was great anyway, so the fact we've got him on a permanent one-year contract just to see how he plays in a permanent deal, you know, it'd be great. And then if he does well, we extend his deal. That is the kind of route we go down. So I think that a season loan for Tulloch and Broja would be fantastic. For either one of them would be great. For both would be fantastic. So that, my friends, is the latest transfer report video. So make sure you go and check out all of our other transfer reports on the channel. You can also check out Rovers of the Day, where we'll look at 3 Rovers players. And make sure you stay tuned next week for the next episode of The Donny Show, where we take a look at recapping the latest transfers over the last week that we talked about on the channel. Talk about any news stories that break on the day, if they do, and also speak about our Rover of the Day for that episode. So we have Rover of the Day on The Donny Show, and then the day after we pick 3 more Rovers of the Day for the separate series. So, very complicated, but you'll get used to it. And, for now, guys, thank you very, very much for watching this report. Stay tuned for a very, very passionate video about Save Charlton Athletic Football Club. Make sure you get the hashtag trending on Twitter, hashtag SaveCAFC, and I'll speak my thoughts on that this afternoon because I've got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to wear my Rovers colours with pride talking about that in that video. So thank you very much, guys. I'm the CHALL. Please like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye.